Welcome. If you're in a consulting role, it's very likely that at some point you'll need to create and deliver a presentation for a client. This presentation might be to convey your findings, explain a system's performance, or help your client understand critical insights about their machines or operations. In this lesson, I'll walk you through everything I wish I had known when I had to prepare client-ready presentations, especially in the context of CFD. But the principles apply broadly across engineering communication. The very first thing to discuss is the reason for a presentation as deliverable. When a technical report is so comprehensive in its nature, where a technical report might be able to set up the problem in a comprehensive way and detail the solution methodology very specifically, a presentation has a bit of a higher level operations focus. Often, a presentation would communicate what a technical report cannot, the working principle of a system. A presentation can contain within it visuals, video, and audio, which a technical report cannot. This allows for richer, more intuitive experience, but in my opinion, it falls short on the technical scrutiny that a technical report can hold. You should not rely on a presentation to defend your technical choices, but it should be used to help the client understand the meaning behind the data. So, when you are preparing a presentation for your client, your main goal should be to give them insight into their system. You tell them the story of their system. In the context of CFD, we often spoke about the flow journey from inlet through the system to the outlet, detailing the velocity changes, the pressure changes, mixing behaviors, temperature shifts, and other weird and wonderful things that we saw. We took them through a movie in stages, discussing important details from a high-level perspective first, and then focusing on the details as they have achieved understanding of this high-level view. You're not just dumping results on them, you're guiding them through a process of understanding. The flow of the presentation does not have to be as rigorously focused on the scope of work methodology as the technical report lends itself to be, but it could instead follow the methodology loosely and the story of the system more closely. It is important to include similar parts in the presentation as in the technical report, like the front matter, introduction, and conclusion, and project setup details like boundary conditions and solution methodology. But the focus of the presentation is always to communicate the concepts to the client in the most impactful way. The client should understand how the problem was set up and what the results are and what the results mean. Presentations are visual, primarily. They are not for reading, but for seeing and hearing. So, words should be used sparingly. Images and video should be used much more extensively, and the story behind the presentation is much more important than the technical rigor, though accuracy should never be sacrificed. When you create your presentation, it is often done in a shorter timeline, so efficiency with your creation is key. First, set out the story that you want to sell. Set up the problem statement, the method of solution, and the known constraints first. Then, detail the boundary conditions and case-specific parameters that would influence the result. Then have your story set out in a high-level way. For each critical piece of information, decide on a visual to add and have tiers of visuals to expand on. As you see, you have more time to expand. But ultimately, create a first draft for delivery with a story and visuals for the client to understand fully what you mean, and then build this first draft out in a tiered fashion to incorporate more details. As you design your presentation, have the following points in mind. Have your visuals cover as much of the presentation real estate as possible, and use words sparingly. Have details linked visually, like the boundary condition noted, and placed where the condition would be applied on the model. Use color often, and direct the viewer's eyes with movement. Have a clear idea where you want the viewer to look and what you want them to see. Try to always keep the viewer's attention and flow logically between points. Don't jump around. This keeps your audience engaged and makes your message stick. So, when you are creating your presentation, these are very good points to keep in mind. Start with a clear introduction or summary of the problem. Keep your presentation simple, clear, and concise, trying not to overwhelm your audience with too much detail. Focus on the most critical aspects of the solution. Present your facts in a logical order, trying to avoid jargon as much as possible. Explain your assumptions and the limitations of your data transparently. Have a set of options from which you could choose, if it's appropriate. Use visuals like graphs and charts, as these can simplify complex data. When you get to your recommendations, always refer back to the data as the evidence to support them. As you can see in this slide, I have not veered away from using too many words, and I have not made sure to not overwhelm my audience with too much detail. One reality in consulting is that presentations often need to be made quickly, so you won't always have time to polish everything. Focus on clarity first, and then polish after that. I've put together a presentation structure guide and checklist to help you create effective presentations consistently, even under pressure. It's a base. You should adjust it for your specific field or application, but it gives you a reliable starting point. In the next lesson, we'll go beyond slide design and talk about how you can actually deliver your presentation. We'll cover how to prepare, how to interact with clients during a session, and how to respond to their questions with confidence and clarity.